One of the foundational aspects about database design is understanding the database types. Now, there are two basic types of databases, and you are naturally going to build one or the other. Now, what's interesting about this is once you build one type, you're going to realize that usually life itself starts to pull you toward the other type. So as a database developer, you need to understand which database type you actually need, which one you're working with, and then work with the administrators to try to figure out when it's time to split the database into the two types. Let's talk about them. The first type is what's called OLTP. Now that is English for Online Transaction Processing Database. Now usually this is just kind of generically referred to as a production or operational database, and these type databases are normalized, and we will talk about normalization in a different video. But the bottom line with an OLTP database is this is usually what we tend to think of as the standard database because it is designed to allow us to insert, update, delete data very, very quickly. Now, especially if you're in a business that the speed of your database limits the number of orders you can take, or in almost any business, it's going to impact your customer satisfaction, the customer perception of your business. So you don't want your customer support people who are taking the orders, or if it's a web app for the user, to actually click on a command to read from the database or write to the database, and you have to sit there for a minute or two and wait for the things to come back. That's just not cool. So an OLTP database, or a transaction processing database, is designed in the way we build the tables and the structure of the tables to allow us to quickly insert and edit the data in our database. Now the other type of database is called OLAP, and that stands for Online Analytical Processing. Now, the term you'll normally hear for this is data warehouse. These databases are designed to be able to pull data out really quickly, and these databases tend to be much more denormalized than OLTP databases. And again, we'll talk about normalization in a different video. It's not an ugly secret, but it's something you're going to learn if you're new to databases. And that is, an OLTP database can be designed from the get-go to really input data really quickly, to edit data really quickly, and so forth. The problem is when we begin to try to query information out at the end of the quarter to see how we did that quarter, those queries have to do a lot of table joins, and it can start to get cumbersome on the database and take a while to get them out. And so the only fix for that is if we had designed our database in an OLAP structure, which tends to make the selection of the queries much, much faster. However, it will usually slow down the input. So you see where you're headed here. And what usually happens is when you first design a database and you implement it, you're going to generally start with an OLTP, and it is going to naturally evolve into a larger and larger database. But keep in mind, let's say your OLTP database now stores 3 years worth of data. You have at least 2 years, maybe 2.5 years of historical data somebody's going to want to get to. And when they try to pull and coagulate and separate 2 years of data and statistics from all that data, you're going to start to get queries that are problematic. And you're going to have to then create an OLAP database and begin to update it and feed it from your OLTP. That's where the whole data warehouse world came from. Now, real quickly here, I've got a table, and I want to try to help you understand this. Notice that the purpose of an OLTP database is to collect, manipulate, and manage fundamental business data. Now, this is the day-to-day activities of the business. OLAP-type databases or data warehouses are used to consolidate the data for use in planning, decision support, metrics, how did we do last year? Those kinds of things, looking for trends in the business. Now, on data input, the OLTP allows us to do really short, really quick inserts, update, and deletes. And this is normally the database that is touched by the end user. This is where the end user, whoever that is actually putting data into and getting data out of the database. OLAP, notice we load the OLAP database with periodic long-running batch jobs, and this is something that you as a developer will do. You'll get into the whole database business intelligence world, and you'll use all kinds of ETL or extractions, transform, and load tools to pull the data from the OLTP, load it into the OLAP database for all the metrics and observation and trending and so forth that the sales team and all those executives like to do. Now, from a design standpoint, the OLTP database is generally highly normalized. It means it has a lot of tables, and we really strive to get efficient storage structure in our data. An OLAP, an OLAP, the database is denormalized, meaning that we do a lot of pre-totaling and aggregating. Now, this course, we're going to concentrate on OLTP. If we were going to concentrate on OLAP, we really wouldn't be doing a development course. We would be doing a business intelligence course. So look for that as a separate course. So for now, we're going to concentrate on OLTP. But you need to understand these two database types because there's always a little bleed over from one to the other, and your OLTP database will just naturally tend to evolve toward needing OLAP functionality.